Welcome to Base and Boundaries podcast. I'm your host, Amy G, and this is your one-stop shop for all things mental health and music. Hi everyone, welcome to today's podcast. I've decided to go a little bit rogue actually and have a completely different setup. I've decided to come to you from my living space because my living room for me is one of my safe places, and when you are going through it and you're just wanting to lounge about on the couch, but also I wanted to try out my cheeky little camera that I've just purchased. So I've just got an Osmo and I absolutely love it. I've been playing around with it all morning. I've got so much to talk about today. And I thought, being in a relaxed environment can be really helpful, but also this is how my setups are going to be going forward. So I have had a really good idea that when I interview guests, if they can come here, they can sit on the couch with me, we can have a good chat. But also if I'm going to like office spaces and going to different events which I've got coming up this year, it's good for me to have that ability to be able to do that. So that's my plan. But today's topic is going to be all about self-doubt, something that personally I've had a bit of a problem with recently, and I want to tell you all about it. I'm quite embarrassed actually. So this is something that I will always call myself out on. I will always say that yeah, I messed up in whatever way that looks like, but then I own it. And that's something that if someone said to me 10 years ago, are you embarrassed by anything? I would have gone, oh, the list is endless. I've got this. But then on the flip side of that, I would now say, yes, I have some embarrassing things happen to me. However, I'm not going to sit there and say that I'm embarrassed by them. I'm going to own it and say, yes, it happened, but this is what I learned from it. So as you know, I've been doing this podcast for a little while now. I think it's about a couple of months coming up, and I'm so happy that I've been able to put 2 podcasts out a week, be consistent with it. Finding the time to do that is hard sometimes, but we just find ways. If you're passionate and love something so much, you will make it work, right? And I've actually loved having those opportunities to get to know people. Now, my diary is sat there and at the moment it's as long as my arm with podcast guests coming on. However, I'm one of those people that aim high. And I aim higher in that I want to interview people that people may not necessarily know. But on the other side of it, people that we do know. And I'm not necessarily saying like Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift or anyone with those kinds of unreachable fame, but I'm talking about artists that we love that are accessible. And I reached out to some producers, I've reached out to musicians, I've reached out to a lot of bigger people, right? And I kid you not, some gave me a chance, some haven't, and that's okay. I took it quite personal to begin with. I was thinking, is it something that I've done? Is it something that I feel like almost, I find it difficult actually, to make those, not take it personal, because you do doubt yourself when you are selling yourself to somebody and you're saying, I have this podcast, I want to get you on, but what makes my podcast different to somebody else? But it's something that one of my friends said that's coming on in a couple of weeks. He said to me, there's only one of you. And so I've tried to remember that. However, this particular situation, I have it in my phone. I'm going to read you the conversation, but I'm going to change it slightly so that I don't I'm not doxing anybody because that's just awful. But they said to me, but what will we be doing on this podcast? And was quite cheeky about it. And I thought I would be cheeky back. So I went, well, we're not making a porno, are we? That was it. It was so innocent. But I killed the vibe. in that moment, even though they were being kind of banterish as well. I thought we had that vibe, turns out we didn't. I took it a little bit too far. And because I'd done that, I went, I'm a failure. Instantly, my brain tells me I'm not good enough. But then we have to own that, don't we? Do I choose to own that I'm a failure? No. Am I going to own that I'm a failure? No, because I'm not a failure. In that moment, I felt embarrassed. So when we look at, I'm going to give you a bit of a lesson today. So I'm going to grab it up on my phone. So it's called the emotions wheel. And, oh, where's my coffee gone? I moved my coffee. So this is what I'm saying. I'm so excited about, oh, it's all the way over there. I'm not going to get it because I can't be bothered to edit it out. I was going to get my coffee, show you this on my phone, but I'm going to show you. So the emotions wheel looks a little something like that, okay? I hope you can see that, okay? But obviously if you're listening on the podcast, please watch this on the video at the end. But I'll read it you anyway. So you've got around the outside are sort of third emotions. Then you've got your secondary emotions, but they all come from a core component. So for me, I'm going to look up embarrassed. And so embarrassed is, oh my goodness, it's in there somewhere. But because there are so many different emotions, we're going to look into this part here. So it's kind of a byproduct of insecurity, nervousness, anxiety, but the ultimate fear is fear. So the ultimate emotion's fear. So when we feel certain things, so when I go to a rave, how am I feeling at that rave? So the first thing is excited. So these are on the outside of the wheel, right? So you've got excited, eager. I would even go by saying blissful, because I feel immense peace in a rave, even though it's such a backwards thing to say, but it's not. In my head, it's not. It might not make sense to you, but it does me. Genuinely makes sense to me. Delighted, satisfied, stimulated. So then we move into the next part of the wheel. Enthusiastic, optimistic, proud of the artist that I'm witnessing. Proud of the DJ that I love so much. There's that pride element. I'm so proud of you. Look at you on the stage. That's why you need me as a fan, because I actually I big these people up all the time. I'm really proud of you for doing that. And it might sound a bit weird. Why would you say you're proud of someone that you don't know? Well, I'm proud of strangers every day. But ultimately, the main core emotion is joy, happiness. And it can go into love. It can go into your love for an artist, your love for a person. And don't you find that fascinating? Because it is fascinating, actually, when you've got people out there that are rooting for you. You don't even know them. And, I've been very blessed, very lucky to sit and interview people that I love and admire. And that's another factor as well. We can love somebody but not be romantically attached to that person. There's not many people I don't love, but I love them because they're all unique and beautiful in their own way, but we're all connected, right? So even if somebody hates me, I still send them love anyway. It doesn't have to be romantic love. You can just love somebody for the base of them being an incredibly insane human being, awesome people. So when we look at emotions and we look at the say there's another wheel, all you got to do is type into Google today the emotions wheel. It changes things in perspective, because I can look at me feeling embarrassed, feeling silly, feeling a little bit, I can't believe I did that, I'm mortified that I did that, and look at that and go, why do I feel like that? And I feel like that because it's a byproduct of a certain emotion. So anxiety is a byproduct of something else. A byproduct is a symptom, okay? So anxiety, we have so eagerly stapled that anxiety is a component within itself. I just realised I have paint on my elbow. Look at that. Love it. On my favourite top as well, covered in paint. We're decorating at the minute. So, but actually anxiety can be a symptom. It can be a symptom of something else. So look at that. Are you anxious? Do you have anxiety? Or is it a symptom of a bigger problem? And I found that with CBT therapy, with learning CBT, I can work with people that are dealing with those emotions. So if a client said to me, I'm going to say this off the bat today, let's get this one. Let's get this feelings wheel up, because this one's a little bit more straight to the point. And they said to me, I am feeling nervous, worried, and anxious. I would look at the chart. It's a byproduct of fear. What are you fearing? Well, I'm fearing rejection. I'm feeling that I'm frightened of. So again, that's a byproduct of fear. So what are you fearing? Well, I'm fearing failure. So we kind of, with CBT, we look at why we feel the way that we do. What makes us feel those emotions? For me, I was embarrassed because I was fearful of rejection and fearful of failure and feeling not good enough, inadequate. But in that moment, yes, I did feel like that. I was very embarrassed and feel like an absolute tit. But I came back from that thinking it wasn't actually what I thought it was. It was actually a byproduct of that. It was an emotion that in that moment didn't make me a failure. It was an experience. So when we look at emotions from the other side of the spectrum, that we aren't owned by labels and emotions. We just have to work with them in that moment. It changes everything. And I teach people how to do that in a personalized way. So if you came to me right now and you had a job interview, prime example, and someone else got that job and you wanted that job so bad, and we've all been there, and you feel resentful, jealous, annoyed, frustrated, hateful. It's a byproduct emotion, hateful. Being hatey, and then you get envy, disgusted, irritable, raged. We've all been there. That's a byproduct of what? What's the core emotion behind all of that? Anger. And if you are feeling like that in that moment, how is that going to make you feel? Well, it's going to make you feel that you just want to give up or that you're a failure. So we can feel multiple emotions, but ultimately it all boils down to those core components. I'm going to read you the core components. So fear, anger, sadness, surprise, joy, and love. Joy could be happiness on some wheels. And we can feel multiple of those emotions. You see that? You can feel multiple of those emotions. But by doing that, you then understand the wheels of emotion, that we are so complex, but it doesn't mean because you're anxious there's anything wrong with you. It could just be a byproduct of another emotion, or it could be a byproduct of a particular fear that you're fearing right now. What are you fearing? So I always say to people, list 3 things that you fear the most. So for me, being not being here anymore on this earth when I'm only in my 30s, and I actually want to live an old life and, and do the things that I haven't quite done yet. And, my second is my fear of rejection. I've got coming up, I have to send today, and I'm very nervous about it. It's making my tummy go funny already thinking about nervousness. It's fear. I'm scared. I'm scared of failure because I have to record myself singing today and send it to a producer. And yeah, that's a big thing, I know. And in my head, I'm trying to combobulate that and go, I've just got to pretend that it's not going to go happen. It's not going to go through. But if it does, then great. But if it doesn't, it's okay. But really, if it didn't go anywhere, I'll be really disappointed. And I think that that sucks sometimes, doesn't it? You know, when we get so caught up in those moments and feeling like, you know, I really want to do this, but I'm scared. There's nothing wrong with being scared, but it's how you own it. And I would say the last thing that I fear, I would say, is not following my dreams. Because I think there's so much dreams-wise I want to do. You know, I've got a diary that's sat there that is just brimming with ideas and inspirations. What does Amy want right now? What does Amy want to do? And I think that we don't ask ourselves enough what we want. You've got kids, you primarily focus on what your kids want in life. We have a habit in relationships to prioritize what our partners want. And we just put ourselves as second class all the time. And sometimes we have to sit there and go, what do I want? What does Amy want? What does Sammy want? What does Jake want? What does Tyler want? What do you want? Like, what are your goals? But what is holding you back? What are you scared of? So when we look at those emotions, it can put things in such perspective. But being embarrassed, anxious, frightened, but happy too. Happy's a good one. Joyful, loved. They're all emotions that we have to feel as human beings, and we spend our life running away from the negative ones. But what if we embrace them? What if we embrace emotions that we are uncomfortable in feeling? Jealousy is a big one, especially for me. I look at those big podcasters. I went on a huge rant yesterday on TikTok going, I need to break the algorithm. Why can't I just break the goddamn algorithm? Because we live in a society now that is so algorithm based, that's AI based. Can an AI do a better job? Maybe. But they're lacking something, and that's a soul and a heart and connection. We're connecting right now, whether I'm recording this on a Sunday morning and you're sat at home or driving or whatever. We're connected. And so by having that connection, AI can't do that. You can't connect to AI. It's got no emotion. It can act like and portray that it does, but it doesn't. Chat, look, I'm not disputing it. Chat is literally my therapist. Chat knows what to say. However, I've trained that algorithm to do that. Chat will talk to me like I talk to you right now. It's learnt my styles. It's learnt my language. It swears as well. It's quite funny. But it does. However, we're all unique in our own beautiful ways. So your chat might be totally different to mine, probably is. But what I'm saying is that jealousy runs deep, because I wish I had a multi-million-pound podcast. But there isn't to say that I won't. I did a lot of work before with a guest that's coming up about manifestation. We say, I manifest, I manifest. He says to say, I wish for. And we ask our spirit guides, I wish for a successful podcast. What do you wish for? What do you want? This goes back to that question. What do you want? I wish for, if a genie stood in front of you right now and says, what do you want? Give your 3 wishes. You can share them with me if you like in the comments, or you can keep them to yourself. Sometimes I always advise you keep your feats to yourself, because there's always going to be someone that is jealous of you to try and sabotage them. Now, that's not to say that you're feeling jealous of somebody that you should actually go and sabotage one's life, because people do. And people have done it to me before, where they've tried to ruin something that I started. However, I would never do that. I feel that emotion and just get on with my life. But you can actually turn a negative emotion into a positive by the way that you deal with it. And I find that quite cool. I find that quite inspirational, actually, that you can take jealousy and turn it into a strength. So, homework for you this week. I want you to tell me, what do you need? And how can you achieve that? That's your homework for the week. What can you do to achieve those goals right now? And put it in the comment section if you want to. You don't have to. But the other one I want you to know is that you can achieve anything in this life, my friends. Anything at all. You just have to believe that you will, okay? I didn't believe that I could set up a podcast until someone believed in me enough to do it. So I did it. And look, I'm doing it. And although, no, it's not a multi-million-pound podcast, I'm enjoying it. And I love doing this. Like I did 10 years ago when I was doing my tarot readings and my soul aura readings. I still do those things, but not as much as I used to. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And also, I forgot to tell you who I'm listening to this week. Oh my goodness. So Andromedic told me back in March when his new song was coming out, Hold Me in Heaven. It's beautiful. That is my top played track at the moment, Hold Me in Heaven with Arcando. It's insanely good. Oh my God, it made me cry. But I already knew. And also, last Thursday, he actually gave me the track before anybody else. I got it 24 hours before anyone else. So I was already listening to it, blasting it in my car on my way to work because, just insane. I've also been listening to Ghosts and Stuff by deadmau5. Again, just really got back into him again. Just listening to old stuff. Also Pendulum. I've been listening to a lot of Pendulum. Witchcraft's one of my favourite ones. So I'm just kind of going a bit old school at the minute. But obviously, Andromedic's new one, just if you haven't listened to it and you think, I don't like drum and bass, I would say it's more dance floor. But it's just beautiful. It is beyond beautiful. It's probably one of the most beautiful tracks I've heard. The lyrics are just beautiful. And I'll stop talking about that and leave you with the rest of your day. But thank you ever such a lot. If you want to come on the podcast, listen, you haven't got to be an artist. You ain't got to be a musician. You just have to be a person with a story and how music has impacted your life. And if that sounds like you, get in touch. You can get in touch with me. All the links and things are in the comment section, in the description, sorry. And also, please follow me on all social media, especially Instagram. It needs a bit of love at the minute. So it's at Base and Boundaries. Take care, guys. I've got an amazing guest coming on Thursday. Her name is Kat, and she basically does what I do, mental health and music. She's an inspiration to me, and I've had the privilege of sitting with her in person and having a chat. So thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much for listening, guys. You can find my podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, and don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. See you next time.